See? Overthinking 101. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I am pre-filming this for a Saturday release, which I think is Saturday, October 5th, if I'm not mistaken. But this one is a good one. I wish I had tea. I was ideally thinking that if it spilled the tea, like I could have some tea while I'm while I'm spilling the tea. Preferably coffee because I drink coffee, but regardless, I'm actually pre-filming, so there goes that idea. But for you guys, when you wake up Saturday morning and you want to have some hot, fresh gossip of the gossip, here it is. So, yeah, based on the title of the video, I would like to say that I dropped out of UTM. I dropped out of Ryerson technically twice, basically, if you really want to think about it. But I'll get to how I got there soon. I'm just going to start at the beginning and let you know like how I came to becoming a YouTuber and like, you know, the different things that I took along the way to get to where I am today. So, started off at high school. You know, you have to pick what university you're going to, what programs you're going to apply for. Kind of briefly mentioned this in another video, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew what I was good at and what I wasn't good at. And what I wasn't good at was science. I really didn't like that. I wasn't good at any of the advanced functions like or calculus or anything like that, but I liked accounting and I liked bookkeeping and I liked balancing shit and like making sure it was like, you know, I liked that type of stuff. But like there was nothing really that I was just like, okay, this is what I want to be like when I grow up. Not really, like nothing, right? So I kind of just went with that route and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to apply to all the business programs. Hopefully I'm going to get into one and then go from there. That's basically it. I just applied to all the business programs in the GTA area, etc. And like halfway through that, I realized that I can't even do advanced functions. I don't remember if I finally passed advanced functions. I don't really remember, but I definitely know that I did not do calculus. And like, yo, my study habits, even in high school, were shit. Like, they were always shit. Like, I just was never able to sit down and like do what I had to do. Like, I just had to like I always say like my ADD kicked in or like my ability to focus. Like I would be reading something and my brain is going to something else. Like, yeah, there's certain times I've done it and like I've been able to like get by this far, but like truly I don't think that's the type of learning that I learn from. And like as I get older, I'm starting to find out more about me and like what does work for me. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't make sense. Like I've honestly considered getting ADHD testing or ADD testing / OCD testing because it's not that I think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that, you know, once I learn the type of learner that I am, then I can start like figuring out how do I learn well, like what can help me focus, etc., etc. And I'm not talking about taking Adderall, like fuck that. Like I want to know, you know. Anyway, so I basically applied to a bunch of universities. I didn't get into any of them because I dropped calculus and I'm pretty sure I did something with advanced functions or my GPA was shit. Like, remember, I barely got by, like, you know, from the beginning. Like, I just always sucked at studying. And yeah, like, okay, maybe I just had shitty discipline, but at the same time, like, there's just something, like, that just didn't go for me. And that reflected in the universities that I got accepted into. And by the way, at this point, I didn't even consider colleges because like that wasn't even like a thing. Like my brothers went to university and I just figured like I have to go to university too. Like what else do my parents expect of me? Like I can't not go to school, right? And college is like bad because if you go to college, like you're just less smarter than the average person who goes to university and gets a degree, right? But I'm joking. That's not fucking true at all. But yeah, basically I didn't even consider colleges. I only applied for universities and then I went to I got accepted to UTM, not in the program I wanted to. I got accepted into some bullshit social sciences program, like writing, and the idea was that, oh, like if you do well in the social sciences program that you don't want to be in, potentially you can have amazing grades and switch over to the program that you want to be and do that. So in my brain, that's like, okay, yeah, you haven't been able to study for the last 4 years of high school. You're going to miraculously do something amazing in something you don't even want to learn about. And then you're going to switch over to this new program. So that's what I was thinking. And fucking real quick, I think by the second semester, I realized, yeah, this is dumb. And I dropped out and I dropped out and I was just like, okay, like I think I'm pretty sure Johan is the one that encouraged me to do that then too. And he told me, go to Sheridan College, like go to college. Like if you like accounting, you can do accounting there without having fucking calculus or advanced functions or any of these different things. And he's like, you can just start there. And if you decide to do a bridge program and get to university, you can do that. So I did it, and lo and behold, I did fucking amazing. I had 3 different co-op experiences. I worked at the City of Mississauga, I worked at Rexall Pharmacy for co-op, and I worked at Orchard Apartments. All 3 jobs, like, I did amazing. Like, it was really good. Like, that's the type of office accounting work that I enjoyed doing. But then I'm an idiot. But then I finished my college program, and like there was a bridge program that Ryerson has, and it's basically like if you have a 3 years advanced diploma from any of these certain colleges, then you can do a bridge program, which basically puts you into year 3 of a Bachelor of Commerce degree, and you just finish year 3, year 4, and then you have your degree. So I'm like, this is great. Like, I can get my degree, and then eventually I'm going to get my CPA, and I'm going to, like, become amazing and, like, become this amazing tax accountant, and et cetera, right? That's what I'm thinking. And so I got the confidence from, like, doing accounting at Sheridan College and doing well there that whatever. And I still did struggle with studying there. There was a lot of courses that I took over, and there was a lot of exams that I deferred, and et cetera, but somehow I managed to slide by, and I'm like, okay, you're going to figure it out for university, and you're gonna learn how to learn properly then, right? Because even for Sheridan, I remember like we used to go have like study days that we went to Sheridan, like spent all night studying, except it wasn't studying. We went and got junk food, ate, gossiped, and then like tripped out in the morning when we had to do the exam. But again, like somehow we fucking managed to do it, and we made it, right? But I felt like I never learned the foundation of learning. I felt like from the beginning, like because I didn't learn properly in high school, I like, you know, barely just got by, like, some way or another, and then, like, eventually that shit's gonna catch up to you, you know what I mean? Like, you can only pretend so long, or fake it till you make it for so long, I feel, right? Anyway, so then after I did the, so I got into Ryerson, I get in, like, it's great, like, I think within the first semester, I failed my first accounting course, and basically, like, university was so different from college yet again, because say we took 2 semesters to learn something in college, university was just like, okay, like, here, you technically should have learned this already, we're going to do it all in 1 semester, and, like, just, it wasn't good. Wasn't my cup of tea, and I went from going to Sheridan College, which was, like, right near me, to going to Ryerson, which meant, like, a fucking 3 different modes of transportation commute. It was the train, it was the bus, and it was the subway, / walking as well, so it was insane, and I hated the commute, and half the time I didn't even go to class, right? So, university, I'm trying to do Ryerson. I've probably failed at least 1 course a semester, and there's a rule there that if you fail a course 3 times, you're technically kicked out of the program. And at this point, like, the girls that I went to college with, like, they didn't do the co-op route, so they started at Ryerson, I think maybe like a semester or a year before me. Keep in mind, I also failed some courses at Sheridan, so I was behind a little, but nonetheless, I made it and strided through to Ryerson. And yeah, so I wasn't in the same year as them, and like, no, like, so I wasn't in the same year as them, et cetera, and then I'm failing some courses, and, like, at this point I'm like, fuck, do I even want to do accounting? Like, I already got, like, this type of accounting. I like bookkeeping, but I would say, like, accounting, like, fraud investigation, like, just things that you need your CPA for, like, fuck, that was another 2 years of school, plus $15,000 that you're not getting OSAP for, so if I was going to do it, I had to front it myself, and, like, I'm already barely getting by, like, I don't like it, right? And so, I'm also working a full-time job now at Sheridan, like, I was just doing a role there, and, like, I was fine with that. I was making money. Like, I didn't need my university degree to get that job. It was nice that I had it, but I didn't need it. I have my diploma from Sheridan that, like, helped me out, right? So, yeah. And then, I think I eventually, like, took 1 course 1 more time, and I failed it, and I thought that I was going to be kicked out of the program, and I was kind of just relieved, and I'm like, fuck it, yo, I'm done with this program. Like, I might not have even failed. I might not have just went to the final exam. I might have deferred it. I don't know, but all I know is fucking, it was gruesome, and I was, like, forcing myself to do it because I was going to let so many people down. Like, my mom is going to be like, you don't have your university degree, like, why did you spend this much time doing it, right? Or I remember when I was in my relationship, my ex was always like, yo, why are you always skipping class? Like, go to fucking class, like, get your stupid degree, right? But it's like, yo, like, I didn't want to get this degree. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to get my, I didn't want to get this university degree, but I was doing it for the sake of doing it. And then eventually I'm basically just like, fuck it, I'm quitting getting my degree. I told my parents, I told my brothers. They were like, okay, like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to quit my job at Sheridan as well. I'm going to go on EI. I'm going to get my AWS and follow the steps of VJ and whatever. So I was kind of freeing myself, but I was kind of trapping myself in another way. So that's basically how we got to me quitting my job, because like that was a great job and all, but I was having to do HR for my second year. That was the only way they were able to make me full time. And if I wanted to continue to be full time again, I would have to do the same exact role, and I just was not feeling it, right? And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do accounting. I've decided that the CPA is not what I want to do. But my only like problem with that was that I'm like, yo, but bookkeeping, like basic accounting, like you're capped off at a certain salary, and like it's not much to be able to make like the moves that you want to make in life, right? So I'm like, how am I going to make more money? And I'm like, what's the easiest way that I can make money, like a lot of money, have the job perks that I want, like work from home, flexibility, travel, etc. And then also make the type of money that I'm trying to make the moves that I'm trying to do, right? Like, and I'm like, okay, well, VJ did AWS. Like, he didn't have to go to school. Like, he just has this, like, online learning platform. And then you have to get certified by taking these exams. And then, like, there's, say, probably about 5 exams that you need to get started. Amazon, AWS, by the way, is Amazon Web Services. And it's basically, like, IT, specifically cloud computing. And, yeah, there's different platforms that have it. But Amazon's one of the, like, major ones. So you can basically get certified, and I would say the baseline certifications would be 3 like basic associate certifications, and then it would be 2 professional. And like, say you had those, like you'd be able to get a job in 6 figures like ASAP, you know? And like the way VG did it, like this was something that he was passionate about, and like he did it so well, like so fluently, like it made it seem like anybody can do that. But I think what the missing piece of that one was, I didn't want to do that. Like, I guess I was down to do it if I could make the money, but in reality, I didn't put the effort that I needed to put in to be able to make that kind of money. And VJ was down to do it because that was something that interested him, right? Like for me, that just wasn't it still. Like I was getting closer, but like, because at the meantime, like while I was off work, like I made sure to go to the gym to like, you know, get my shit together. And like one step by one step, I was getting closer to what I wanted to do, but I wasn't just there yet because I still wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So I wrote this exam. I wrote it 3 different times. Each time, like I got my ass kicked, and like, yeah, I probably didn't study as well as I could have studied, but even when I did, like, I don't know, it was very hard. And to my justification, other people who are already in the industry have taken it since they changed the exam, and like they haven't been successful either. So not like, it just makes me feel better, honestly speaking, but regardless, it wasn't for me. So during this time where I'm taking the exam for 3 times, like I took kind of the summer off, this recent summer, and I talked to Hugo. I had gone back from my trip for Halifax, and I was just like making all these positive changes and like just doing a lot of thinking. Like I felt like a lot of thinking, and I told myself like, okay, after summer's done, like you're going to try this again, and by the end of the year you're going to get certified in AWS, and by January you're going to start a job in AWS, etc., right? And as summer's coming to an end, I'm like, fuck, like the idea of studying for this again, like it's not pleasant. Like it's not giving me happy feelings. Like, okay, fine, maybe I'll do it, but like what can I do that would make me happy? And that's when the whole, like, after sleepover at Sindhu's house, like I was having those epiphanies, and I was just thinking, and I'm like, yo, what if I could just do like talk about my weight loss, talk about my what I've learned and this and that, etc., and have a platform, right? And that's when that idea started. But before this idea started, because AWS was taking me so long, and like again in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, you never finished your university degree. Like, yes, I have my advanced diploma from Sheridan, but I'm like, you never finished the accounting degree. Like, maybe in the meantime, like you still are off, you're not technically working, you can finish it off, because I only have 3 courses left to finish, or had, because I'm not finishing it anymore, but I had 3 courses left to finish, and I'm like, you know what, maybe finishing it will give you the confidence and the closure that you need from like this chapter of your life. And you know, you can do AWS as well, and you know, worst case scenario, like you can have a degree for AWS like as your backup, or you can do something that's like niche, like accounting in AWS, or I don't know, something like that, right? So I signed up for the course. I paid $700, and it was awesome because my friend was taking it at the same time because she's upgrading to actually do her CPA, etc. So I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna do it. I even went to class. I did it, like did some studying, did reading, etc. But then that epiphany, like that I had after the sleepover at Sindhu's, came after I think week 2 of class, and I told myself like, I'm going to give myself 7 days of just doing YouTube videos and just dropping as much content as I want and see what happens and just see how I feel about it, etc. So that Thursday when I had my night class at 6:30, I was like, I hadn't even studied anything at this point because I'm so into like what I'm doing for YouTube and whatever. So I hadn't studied. I was already behind. I didn't do the homework assignments, and then I was gonna go to class for the sake of going to class, but then I'm just like, you know what? Like I really feel like there's no point of going to class. Like I'm already gonna be behind. I might as well like, you know, go next week and then be like get caught up, and then at least I understand what she's talking about, etc. Which I know that that's not right as well, but I'll talk about that later. But regardless, I'm like, you know what? Give myself the time that I want to focus on YouTube, and then next week, like, okay, you can get your shit together, and that's this week, by the way, and like you can go to class, you can figure out what you want to do, etc. And Johan had followed up on me like on Friday and was just like, yo, like we were talking about something else, like probably related to YouTube, and he was just like, wait a minute, did you go to class yesterday? And I'm like, no, man. And he's just like, and I was like already getting ready to like give my explanation, like, don't worry, like I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna go, like whatever, and he's just like, yo, bro, like, fuck it. Like, if you decide that you're going to do YouTube and, like, you're okay with, like, getting, like, a basic accounting job, which is, like, the bookkeeping you like, then why the fuck are you finishing this degree? He's like, why? He's like, I'm like, well, I've already paid the $500. Like, it's already, like, it's gone. It's a sunk cost. You know what I mean? He's like, okay. So he's like, it's a sunk cost. Who fucking cares? Like, fuck it. And I'm like, nah. Like, I'm taking it with my girl. Like, I can't let her down. Like, whatever. He's like, whatever, man. He's like, just think about it, because it's going to take mental energy from you. Like, it's going to take the energy that you could have to think of like video ideas, to be putting out videos, to even start applying for the job that you want to work for, etc. And he's just like, all that this is doing is like making you do something you don't really want to do anymore, because again, you've thought about something else, and like that's okay. And he was basically like encouraging me, which is why I say like my brothers are amazing. Like, even when I told VJ, like after I dropped my Ryerson accounting course that I'm taking again, he was just like, okay, and he's just like, that's fine, but he's like, what's your next steps, right? Like, he didn't judge me, he didn't say anything, he's just like, okay, like, what's your plan though? And I'm like, I told him the plan. He's like, okay, so now you know what you have to do, start fucking doing it. And that's exactly what I'm doing, right? So that was the conversation I had with Joanne, but at this point I'm like, nah, I'm going to do this. I'm still just going to finish it off, but I'll just finish off this semester and I'll do this one course, and then I'll just be 2 courses away. But 100% January, I'm like, I'm not doing that, because it is like taxing. It's a lot of work and it's fucking hard, yo. Like, shit ain't no joke. Like, it's fucking hard to get your degree in accounting, let alone do your CPA and your designation and shit like that. Like, if you're really going to dish out that money, like, yeah, it probably dropped $750 that I, again, wasted. That's the cost of a new camera that I want. But at the end of the day, like, did I know that this is the path that my life was going to take? Did I know that I was going to finally grow some balls and do whatever the fuck I wanted to do from time? Like, no, I didn't know that I was going to have these life epiphanies, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. And like, yeah, it's scary, but like I've never felt so much more passionate about it. And even like the whole university, like not graduating thing, like I technically haven't even told some of my close friends, you know what I mean? Like, I've just never talked about it and never said it of fear of judgment. Like, and that's what I mean when I say that, like, yo, a lot of these things I've continued to do or did for the sake of other people. Like, I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me. Like, yeah, you fucking went to university and dropped like 20K in fucking tuition fees and time and talking about it or whatever, and you still have not done it. Like, instead you're going the opposite route and like basically still not employed and going down the path of becoming a YouTuber. Like, that's pretty fucked. And like, I keep on thinking that, like, yo, my friends, like, you know, I wanted to tell them, but now it was like it's become a point where like I've already not said it. Like, it's not like I said I graduated or whatever, but I didn't not say I graduated, kind of thing, right? Or maybe I did, like, in certain conversations, not tell the truth. But regardless, it's just I'm so nervous about people's opinions. And like, even now, like, that was one of the things, like, I was like, I want to make a video and talk about this. Like, I'm not saying like don't go to university, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, like, think about what you're doing and decide if you're doing it for yourself or for someone else. And if you could decide like what you could do if it was your dream world, like, how would you be able to make money out of it, and how could you do it? Like, how could you go about doing that? And like, talk to somebody about it. Talk to somebody. See, like, you know what I mean? Whether it's someone that's in that career already, or like one of your friends or family members or somebody, and to say like, hey, hear me out. Like, this is what I want to do. I know it sounds a little crazy, but you know, like, your true friends are going to be like, okay, step 1, do this. Like, they're going to help you figure out a plan to get there. And I know, like, even my girls, when I told them that, like, these are the girls that already knew that I didn't graduate from Ryerson because they were in the same program as me. And when I just told them last night that, like, hey, I'm not completing my degree anymore, and sorry that, like, I dropped the course before I even, like, told anybody. Like, you're not changing my mind once I make my mind up. And whether that's a good trait or a bad trait, like, I thought about it, and, like, yo, the weight that's lifted off my shoulder, and, like, even as I make this video and I say, like, to the world, like, I didn't graduate from UTM, I didn't graduate from Ryerson, I'm not working right now. There's nothing fucking technical about that. I don't have a car, which is awesome, because all of these means means like I live with my parents, like my expenses are low, I'm able to chase after my dreams, and I think I'm already 5 steps ahead of the average person. And not that I'm trying to be ahead of anybody, like I'm not, but like, yo, I don't, like, to some people you might think that like I'm behind, I haven't even established my career, like I don't have a significant partner, like whatever. But to me, in my soul, I feel I've never felt such mental clarity in my life before. Like I'm getting less and less anxious days, I'm feeling more and more confident every single day that I take a step in the right direction, you know. And yeah, I'm really sorry that I wasn't honest about it to my friends, that I wasn't honest to. And it has nothing to do with you, it's more so with my overthinking of like, you know, thinking like, yo, this person's gonna think badly of me, and for thinking so less of you and our friendship, my bad about that. But regardless, like, yo, it is what it is. Like I'm so happy, and like I'm just, even my heart right now, like I feel so good, like I feel good, like I feel positive, I feel enlightened, I feel like I'm ready to conquer the world, and I feel like there's nothing stopping me anymore. And the thing is, like, when I decided to do, like, take that, rip the band-aid off of becoming a YouTuber, like, again, this accounting degree was like in the back of my mind, the judgment from other people was in the back of my mind. But as I take one step closer to becoming a YouTuber, and that's creating one more video every single day or putting myself out there, like one thing becomes more clear, you know what I mean? Like I'm now learning how to like clear my path to get to my goal, and what's the fastest way possible. Like less and less obstacles are coming in my way because I'm able to like see it better and change quicker, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if any of this makes sense. Like, fuck, you might think that I have, like, I'm fucking crazy, and I definitely am, 100%, no doubt about that. But like, yo, like I've never felt so right, so good in my soul before. And you know what, like that's a hard feeling to come by, and I'm gonna make sure I take that and run. So I hope you have an awesome day. Happy Saturday. Do some grocery shopping, get your shit together, you know, have a great week ahead. So cheers.